Yes, Jennifer, I'm recording the call. Hoping we can post this thing tonight. So let me share my screen. Tell me if you can see that, or can somebody, Sassy, can you unmute yourself and tell me if you see this?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Anyway, perfect. Okay, my name's Rod Garcia, and I'm a senior gold with Plexus Worldwide. And Jana Garcia is my wife. She's a diamond, senior ruby, and I'm very proud of her achievements. And anyway, I'm a big supporter of hers. Let me see if I can get this thing too. Okay, I'm a big supporter of the business from the very beginning. I was encouraging her, but I was also very skeptical. And one of the things that I quickly learned was that Plexus was a great business opportunity for the family, and I was still a skeptic for several months, even though we had paychecks coming in from them. And it just took a little bit of more encouraging for me to understand that, that this business was only getting better in terms of, what it was doing for us as a family and for the people that we knew, a lot of friends and family that had joined. And so you get really involved with it. You become attached to you get close and attached to a lot of people that you meet in this business. And so I've grown to love and know a lot of people in our organization. And I'm just happy to be here working with you guys. But the one thing I want to talk about, this is the topic for tonight, was my success depends on me. And the reason I chose that is because on a personal level, I've had to question myself as to do I really want to do this? Do I really want to devote the time? Do I why is it not working? I mean, there's a ton of questions that I could go through. They probably are similar to what some of them that you've experienced. And sometimes you want to think that you've gave it your all, or you tell people that, but deep down inside your heart, you know that you really haven't. You really haven't given it your all, and you haven't even put much more than just a few minutes, maybe a day. And so that's the reason for this topic, is because I've seen the great potential with this business. Being a husband, a spouse of a Plexus Diamond, I've been able to, as a blessing, I've been able to, experience the successes of that, and not just with us at her at the very top, but also just ranking up through the company, and just as money became increased in our just in our way of life. And as a lot of people, we struggled so much in the very beginning, like so many other people. We struggled so much with finances, and always having to juggle money around, and then all of a sudden you have a problem that occurs that you decide that you need to make quick adjustments in your finances. And so let me see if I can mute that. But that's the reason. I mean, you have people that really count on you, because you have so much at stake. If you're a father, or a mother, you have so much that you need to, that you're responsible for. And so this business opportunity has really given us the opportunity to really lessen our worries. Let me see if I can find out who's not muted. If you can mute yourself, I appreciate it. Bear with me because I haven't done this in a while, especially on Zoom. Okay, I think somebody's already muted. So anyway, that was the reason for the topic was, my success depends on me, because I've had to go through that initial thoughts as to, do I really want to do this, and why? And so I really have come to a lot of realization that, I need to make some changes. And I think a lot of people that I speak to on a personal basis have said the same thing, that they really want to, make that effort to grow their business. So let's go ahead and we'll move to the next slide. And let's see if I can do it here. But if you can, try to mute yourself, and that would. Anyway, first you have to realize that no one can make me succeed or fail, except for me. I mean, everything falls on me. And so, and we all can find faults, and I'm just saying this. I'm not telling anybody that this is what you do, but this is things that have crossed my line as for my own thoughts, or I have heard people, and just, but it's all common. Like, these are common things that people typically say. They want to say that their spouse is holding them back for some reason. They're not supportive. That their family, there's too many demands with the family. They want to blame their upline. I mean, they want to blame their upline, or somebody in their downline is not doing something. And in retrospect, when you do that, you're just trying to make excuses for yourself, because from everything that I've learned, and I've been listening to a lot more experts in MLM profession, and a lot of them will tell you the same thing, that they come to the conclusion that the problem that they were having was for themselves, and they couldn't blame anybody else. And so that's the whole idea behind tonight's topic. And then people want to also blame the status quo. They want to say that there's my situation is different. I work nights, or I work swing shift, or I have 7 kids, or I homeschool, and and the thing I put on here was there's too many identical or more challenging lives that still succeed. And what I mean by that is, just within Plexus Worldwide themselves, I've come across so many different ambassadors, and you've heard them too. You've heard this, just watching some Diamond documentaries. You'll find that there's so many people that you can relate to, that they had their own business that they were running, as well as running, raising children, as well as, trying to be a spouse, and trying to keep up with sports. I mean, there's just so many reasons you could say that that's your cause for failure. But every time you do that, there's we could bring up somebody's name that succeeded, who had the same issues, or whatever you want to call it, challenges, as you have. So try to keep that in mind, that it's easy to say, woe is me, but there's just, there's too many people out there that that have done it and are doing it very successfully. And another thing is I can't blame the clock. Some people want to say, I don't have enough time. There's just too much. But, there's times that you carve out for yourself for other things, and that you really need to, if you really want this to work, you have the same amount of time as somebody who's a diamond ambassador or a sapphire or a ruby, and they have the same amount of time as you do. And so we can't blame the clock. We can't say that I don't have enough time. There's time. You just have to. It's all about management and what's a priority for yourself. And then I put the last one there, kind of like, I can't blame the police. Just want to make sure you guys are still listening. And I guess you're still listening, because I still see some people out there listening to them. But that's the whole thing. We have to fully accept that if I'm going to succeed in this business, that I can't put blame on anybody else. It's about my own efforts. It's about my own me overcoming whatever challenges that I have, and really trying to do something that I said to myself and to others that I wanted to succeed in. And then you got to ask yourself, why am I doing this? MLM, there's more millionaires are made in this career than any other. I mean, that in itself should tell you that, and I'm not saying we're all going to become millionaires, but the fact that this type of career has that opportunity, and it's not just, the millionaire part, but the fact that you can do it without, the formal education. You don't have to be a graduate of MLM to become one. You don't have to go to, take any kind of formal training to become one. So there's a lot of opportunities in this business. It's just a matter about being coachable. And I hear that a lot from people who are successful in this business, is you have to be coachable. You can't, and we see it all the time. You can't think that, well, I'll just do it and I'll do it my way and hope that it's going to work, because chances are it's not. So many people have already made the path for us. They've already, have shown what works, what doesn't work. And all you really need to do is duplicate. You duplicate the people that have success, or have succeeded in this business. And so it's very encouraging. Why am I doing this? It's because of finances. I see others succeeding. That's the reason I want to do it. I see other people who are succeeding in Plexus. So I know that if they can do it, I can do it. And the big thing for me and a lot of other people is no inventory to deliver or store. That's another reason we're doing this. That Jana and I, we would hate if we had to go run around town delivering products or having people come over or trying to have a party and bring stuff there. It's just, that's not why we got into the business side of it, because, we didn't want those headaches. And not to knock anybody that does do it. Some people enjoy it. My sister-in-law, who used to be on my team, she was a stay-at-home mom herself, and she had never done MLM, and she joined on my team, and she became, so she was becoming successful at it. But then she had an opportunity with another company, and it just happens to be something that it kind of fell in her lap. And so now she's, very successful with her company. But, and I love my sister-in-law, and I know she loves what she's doing, but it's her type of business. She has to carry a lot of inventory, and she's always booking parties and that kind of stuff, where she's, having to, encourage people to attend, and it just, it's fine for some people, but personally for myself and Jana, it wasn't what we wanted. So you look at it, this Plexus offers a really good compensation for what we do. and not having to deliver products is a big plus. You know, when you have your own website for $34.95, I mean, you can't beat that. You can't beat that at all. And you get paid, you know, and so in comparison, you know, you get paid to work, you know, for your work. When you go to your regular job, you know, you're getting paid for that work, and you're getting one check for that 40 hours you put in. But in this business here, you know, the whole reason that we love it is that it's residual. You know, if we want to take some time off, we can take time off, and the money is still being generated because we have a successful team, and so forth. Everybody can do that. Everybody can build that team. So that's really a big plus, is that residual and the income potential. You know, there's no cap on how much money you can generate. Uh, when I talk to a lot of ambassadors, like we went to Maui and just other places that I've talked to a lot of, I spent a lot of time with a lot of diamond ambassadors' husbands, and so we talk a lot, and you see that these people have, and there's a big, you know, when you get to diamond level, or even, I guess really it's any rank, the amount of money can be a wide range, and the reason is all because about, you know, there's no cap in it. There's, you know, somebody can get to, there's a lot of people that get to the very top, or they reach whatever rank they want to reach it, and they're very happy with, you know, that extra few $1,000s that they're getting. And, you know, but there's other people that are more ambitious, and they keep striving. And the money's not everything. Trust me, money is not everything. You know, that shouldn't be your driving force, but it is a great way of, it's what you, for us, it's what we do with that money. You know, that we're able to donate to the school, or donate to the church, or just, you know, give to whomever in need. I mean, so we see a lot of benefit in that. But the beauty of it is nobody says you can only make this amount of money. You know, the sky is the limit, and you know, once you absorb all this information, you start thinking, you know, I can really do this. You're going to keep yourself focused, and you're going to try to determine what changes do I need to do in order to get there. You know, do I need to spend more time training? Do I need to spend more time just, you know, doing things that are, you know, duplicating someone? Anyway, we'll cover some of those points here in a minute. But it's also, you can become financially free, and you can create a legacy for your family. That's ultimately what I think a lot of people want to do. You know, they want to, you know, it's not so much being, you know, creating wealth for yourself. It's creating that legacy for your family, you know. So, you know, we all know, I mean, especially after this tragic past week, you know, we all know that life is very short, and sometimes it's, you know, unexpected, um, the way we have to leave this place. But, you know, you want your family, you know, you want your family to have some kind of security. And so, you know, I always tell people that, you know, if you jump in, you didn't make this your plan A. You don't have to have a plan B. You shouldn't even have a plan B. You should say, okay, I'm going to give, you know, 3 to 5 years in this business. And I think if anybody gives 3 to 5 years in this business, they're going to see a lot of success. Even myself, I mean, I've been in this business since Jana's, a little bit short after Jana started. And, you know, I still have a steady income that comes in from it. Let me see if I can mute that person. Or if you can mute yourself, I appreciate it. Let's see. Let me stop the share for a second, and then I can. I lost y'all for a second. All right. Is the sound still good? If somebody can
Yeah.
probably check.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, perfect. For some reason, it's acting funny. I'm not sure if it's what it is, but I'll figure it out. Jana wanted me to use her Mac or Apple, whatever, and I'm like, I'm not an Apple guy. I'm not using it, um, and I haven't done this in a while, so I'm trying to figure it out on my own. So bear with me. But I'm just trying to meet everybody out. But that's the whole idea for this call, was that I've come to my own realizations of things that I know I need to change, and part of that is you know is I have to educate myself, and I see a lot of people, and I'm talking about my wife as well, who um, when you listen to them, they sound like they really know what they're talking about, and they sound very uh, professional. They sound like they are, it's just some, they can get across the points they want to get across in a short amount of time. And that's really the whole thing that you want to do uh, with our business, is because what we do is mostly about listening more than it is about talking, especially when you're working with people that you just met. You want to listen, and you want to make friends that way. And so, uh, that's what I'm encouraging people to do, is just to make some changes in their life. So I'm going to go through the next slide, and hopefully I don't lose anybody. Um, so this one here says just control your distractions. And Jana and I had a conversation recently, and one of the things that I recall when we first started, and I'd say probably for the first couple of years at least, um, before our business became became solid, is that we actually spent a lot of time working with our teams and just networking, just spending a lot of time networking with other ambassadors. And it would be very common for us to be um, at the kitchen table. It's usually where we worked in the house that we lived in Oklahoma City. We would sit at the kitchen table with our laptops, and it would be very common for us to spend the evening, and I'm talking, it would be, it'd be right after dinner, we would jump on the computers, and we would be networking with other people, and in our team as well. And that's how we really got to know this business, is we spent a lot of quality time with other ambassadors. And we don't, personally, and Jana said this too, we don't see that as much anymore with people on the team. Um, when it gets late in the evening, a lot of people they're out. They're checked out. They're going to go watch TV. They got a sports game to watch, and I can assure you that Jana and myself didn't do any. We didn't watch any movies or TV as much. I mean, I typically have TV in my office on. Usually it's just on, and it's on mute, but I could be watching the news or something. But to sit there and just watch and spend a lot of time watching sitcoms or weeklies, that just didn't happen. And so that for us became a big. I mean, there's always time. We always said there's going to be time to do that afterwards. And so you really have to make those kind of distractions minimal. And I always think that, okay, if you want to watch a movie, I think you're better off going to the movies and going with your family. Go to the movies once a week and go with your family. At least you're spending time with your family and enjoy yourself. That's going to be less time than you sitting down and just being a couch potato for hours on end. So I'm not saying not to go enjoy yourself. I'm just saying, you should find ways of trying to control some of those distractions. And the biggest one is social media. And I don't even have to say it, but I'm repeating it because these are things that I know in my heart for myself. I jump on Facebook and then it's just, it's like clickbait. You see one thing that's intriguing and you click on it, and the next thing you know, you're who knows where, and you're like, how did I end up here? I didn't even want to be here, but here I am looking at something that, yeah, it's funny, but that's not what I intended to do. And so you really have to have that list of your tasks that you want to really do for that day, and keep that in the forefront, because social media could just suck you in, and it's a time killer. And then also left fill in your blank. I mean, everybody has a distraction. It could be your hobby that you enjoy a lot, or it could be just something that you spend a lot of time doing. And I'm not saying that you don't do it all, but you got to keep it to a reasonable amount, and then think about what you can do later. And so I think that's a big plus if you can do some controls. It's all about controlling some of those things. So I'm going to do some lists of ways to succeed. And I'm saying this because this is what applies to me. Do what you dislike first, and then the rest will be easy. And every time I hear that, I always think, there's that one thing that's always bugging me, and I don't want to do it. It could be, it could be something to do with just paperwork or bills, and I'm like, I'll do that last. But in reality, you need to do that first, because once you get out of the way, it's a big relief to yourself, and you feel like, okay, I've done that, I can accomplish anything. And it's the same way in our business. Do what you dislike first. It could be that you want to. You have a list of your potentials that you want to reach out to, and say there's a couple of people on there that are they're a little bit intimidating maybe, or that you feel like you don't know the right words yet, or you feel like I can't really approach them. They're somebody that you really want on the team, or you really want to talk to about as a customer, but you're just intimidated or something. Whatever it is, I think if you tackle that first, deal with that person first, the rest of the ones that you deal with are going to be so much easier that day. And it can be whatever it is, but just as an example, just do the most difficult first, and then secondly is to learn, and that's by reading. Reading all you can about Plexus, reading about the products, reading what they can do for you, reading some of the testimonies that we have from other ambassadors, because once you have that information, you can easily share it with others that ask you. If somebody asks you, one of your friends asks you, what does it, have you seen anything that helps with this? Or does your products have, any of these ingredients? So you really, if you have a hard time memorizing things, the best thing to do is just know where your resources are. Remember that, I can go get that information somewhere. So try to keep that in mind. Also, watching videos. That to me is a big thing to do. It's easy to do. Who doesn't love to sit there and just watch a video? And if you find a person you can really relate to, it makes it so much easier. Obviously, there's people out there that shouldn't be training, but they do train. I mean, there's people that, I'm talking to professionals, you go out there and they're like, they can't keep your attention, but you'll find somebody. Keep going till you find somebody that you enjoy watching and learning from. Try to mimic others. I mean, find the people that you see that are succeeding in this business, and just do what they're doing. And that means, if you look on their Facebook wall, you see that they're posting, 2 or 3 times a day about various topics, and then bam, they go out a Plexus, post. Try to do what they're doing, and just use your own words. But you got to be yourself. You can't. When I say mimic, you can't be somebody else. You can't be Jana, and you can't be sassy, and you can't be, whoever. You could only be yourself, and people are going to know it if it's you. So just mimic others, but do it with your own flavor and your own taste. And another thing is when you learn something is to also get your feet wet. So as you learn something, just turn around and start doing whatever it is you learned. See what works. So many people want to, they're very green and they want to know everything that they possibly can before they even take that first step. And I think you're better off by just, getting your feet wet. And if you fail, you just do it better the next time. So, and that's the only way you're going to learn. Find a mentor. Find somebody that you like. Sometimes it can be another ambassador. Somebody who's had some great success. Somebody that, and a lot of people, I think a lot of people appreciate the role of being a mentor. A lot of, obviously if they're very well known, they might have time limitations, but there's people out there that really want to help. And so if you ask somebody, I'm sure you'll find somebody that can help you out. And it doesn't have to be Plexus related. It could be somebody who's very successful in business or just very successful in everything they do. And so you want to, see how would they do something, and then mimic that. Another way is you have to become active in your team groups or chats. I mean, you can't succeed without your team. You can't succeed without communicating. You can't do things in a silo. You can't do things by yourself. You have to, work with others. That's just the way it is. And I think if you jump into MLM and then say, well, I'm going to, not talk to anybody, I'm going to be myself. It's just, I don't think it works. You really have to become involved because it's something that, just part of what we do. I mean, we're offering products and we're offering products that work very well, and you want to tell people about it. And so, you have to learn how to share. And so, you have to interact with people. So especially with your team. The biggest ways to succeed is going to events. I should have put that number one, but going to events, going to a Plexus convention, going to an opportunity meeting, going to any kind of training, such as this. But I can't tell you how many opportunity meetings we've been to. And we've been to every convention since we joined. When you go to those things, it just reinforces everything that you have learned. Let's see if I can close this out. I was trying to mute somebody. All right, let's see. If you can mute yourself, I appreciate it. For some reason, it's not giving me. Okay, that may have been it. And then we also have meet and network with other ambassadors and also do things together. So if you're local to some people, go out and have, some lunches together or have some coffee together. I can tell you that, and I've shared this before, but I think Jana has too. You see people like Celeste, who, she lives nearby from where we live, and Celeste has a very successful team, obviously. But they do a lot of things together, and I learned this a long time ago just watching them. And and so we wanted to mimic or duplicate those same things. People want to belong, and so when you create these, these luncheons or whatever, and you invite people that are ambassadors to come, it's so much easier. Once you have a small group, and then you got somebody who's not a Plexus ambassador, and you say, hey, you want to come join us? This is going to be me and a few other friends, and when they start listening to some of the Plexus opportunities, they're going to want to be part of it. So that's just another way of people want to belong. And so, by doing things together and just networking with other ambassadors, you're going to find success. I mean, you're going to find that it's very encouraging to work with other people that have the same drive as you do. And so that's where the last one is get a running partner. You have to have somebody that you can do this with each and every day. And fortunately, I have my wife who's here. But but I also have other guys that I talk to. But you really need to have at least one person that is your running partner, somebody that you can bounce things off of, somebody that can pick you up when you feel like you're down, or vice versa. But it's just easier to do it when you have somebody with you. And then let's see if I can go to the next one here. And then resources is some of the things that I personally do and have been doing here quite recently, doing more and more of these. MLM Nation is one that I love, the podcast, and I have it on my phone. And it was great, especially when you're on, like we were on the airplane when we were going to Maui. You have a lot of downtime. I had a lot of podcasts there that I wanted to listen to. But it's also, I play iTunes on my desktop here in my office during the day. And if you listen to the guy that runs it, Simon Chan, he interviews a lot of top performers from a lot of different MLM companies. And you're going to find people that you can relate to. You're going to find topics that you're interested in. You're going to find a lot of great tips on his podcast. And he keeps things he has a lot of the same questions, so you get a very consistent steps of what he likes to hear, what people have gone through, what's your worst moment, or what's your best advice and stuff like that. So I really encourage you to listen to Simon Chan on MLM Nation. Bob Heilig videos. If all you need to do is go on Facebook and click like on his page, and you'll start seeing his videos, which are quite often on Facebook. And Bob Heilig has some really good, down to earth, great ideas. There's things that I think there's people here, Jana and others, that can attest that Bob Heilig has some really good material that he shares. And a lot of it, surprisingly, when you listen to and even Eric Worre, I love listening to Eric. I think I misspell it now. But Eric Worre has some really good information. I subscribe to his networkmarketingpro.com, and I get the email, and then it has the link to his video almost every day or every other day. Just a good resources. But when you listen to, especially these guys here, you're going to be amazed that you have a lot of good information that's free, at your fingertips. So it's a matter of just utilizing those. And then you got what it takes. Let me see if I can share that. You got what it takes to take everything you've got. And I liked when I saw that, because it reminded me that, as I meet other successful ambassadors in Plexus, aside from my wife, they're just regular people like you and me. They have tons of kids, or they have one kid. They have a job that they work, 60 hours a week, or they, whatever the demands that they have in life, you're going to find people that you can relate to, or you can't relate to, because you find yourself thinking, well, how did they get to that success with all these obstacles, as we would perceive as obstacles, but in reality it wasn't for them. So it's very encouraging when you realize that in this business that anybody can do it, but it takes some type of application of your commitment, of your consistency, and you have to do things that you're you know, that you know are going to be outside of your comfort zone, you know. Uh, and I know, like I said, I'm telling you things that I know for a fact because I've been through it. When you start, you know, say you're doing something, you're doing it, and say you've been sending out uh, emails or messages to people, and you haven't had much responses, but then, you know, a week goes by and you're still sending out those messages, and another week goes by and you're still sending out those messages and nothing happens. Well, then there's a problem there, and you just can't keep repeating those same things over and over. You know, this is where you have your running partner, and you ask your running partner, hey, can you read my message that I'm sending out and tell me what you would say? Or, you know, or once you start educating yourself and start learning from these other experts of how to present yourself, how to write that elevator speech, or whatever, those messages that you're trying to construct are going to be a much better structure if you utilize that information. So you have what it takes. You just need to, you know, you just need to use what you have in front of you, those resources, because a lot of people have made it to the top, and they're just like you, and they're just like me. And I know that everybody on this team here has the great potential to do it. And I'm very encouraged because I see a lot of people that are doing really, really well. And I'm trying to mimic them and what they do. So that to me is the most important thing about the message, is that on a personal note for myself is I know that there's changes I have to make in order in order for me to become more successful at this. I mean, because after a while, if you've been a silver ambassador for, you know, so many months, and you decide, you know, I don't want to be silver ambassador anymore, I want to get to the next level. Well, then you have to make that commitment and that determination that you're going to do something differently. And so I've been at senior gold for for a long time now, and so I've already determined in my heart that I'm going to do things differently. I'm not going to do the same things I've been doing for the past few years, and I'm getting out of my comfort zone. The one thing that I have that Jana always, this is why we work as a great team. So if you're with a spouse, you know, it's always great to be working this business with a spouse. But believe it or not, Jana's really shy, so she has a hard time sometimes, you know, wanting to meet people, or, you know, she likes the comfort of just being at home sometimes. And I'll make a friend anywhere. I'll make a friend as I'm going jogging down the street, or if I'm in the store. Or she's always surprised at somebody that will wave and say, "Hey, Rod," and she's like, "How do you know them?" And I'll say, "Well, I met them, you know, wherever." So I make friends everywhere, and so that in itself. But the problem I have though is I don't always use that to my advantage. You know, I don't have my business card on me, or I fail to mention anything about Plexus. Um, So it doesn't do you any good to make friends like that if you're really intending to go out and network yourself and expanding your circle, if you're not talking about your business. And so I really have to make changes in that. And so, you know, I have Jana, who's very encouraging that I can do it. And so I'm going to change. I'm going to start. I've already started carrying business cards on me. If I'm going jogging, I got them inside my little pouch with me. Or if I'm riding my bike, it's in my bike. So I can't make any excuses that I didn't have something with me. But another thing we can all do is, when you have your phone with you and you're out and about, is you need to friend that person right there and then. You know, if you say, "Hey, my name is Rod Garcia, and you can find me on Facebook, and just send me a friend request, and I'll accept it." There's no reason why you should do that. You should just go ahead and say, "Hey, you know, pull up their name right there and then and friend them," and that way, you know, you don't lose that opportunity. So I know for a fact I'm going to try and do things differently. And then you always say, "Well, what am I going to do with all these people that I meet?" And so the idea personally for me is, we're gonna do more things here at the house. We don't always do things here, but it's always, either with our kids or, once in a while we'll have a Plexus event. But in reality, we need to become more social, and we used to be. But after we moved, things kind of get a little different. And so I told Jan, we need to socialize more, make more friends. And so I'll invite some of these people that I've met in the neighborhood over. And one good website which really worked for me in this area is that website Nextdoor. I've promoted it before, the Nextdoor, where you can go on there and log in and create an account based on the neighborhood you live in. And so when I'm out and about in this neighborhood, I meet people, and then they're on Nextdoor, and sometimes I may comment on something they post, or now that I've been on Nextdoor, they've actually, the person who, there's in every Nextdoor neighborhood has a lead. Anyway, they made me the lead because the other person moved. So Nextdoor said, "You're the lead." And I'm like, "Hey, I loved it." So now I get to meet everybody when they join. And so, try to do that for your own personal self. Is just, go out there and try to meet people and utilize the tools that you have there in front of you. But anyway, that's tonight's meeting. I just wanted to kind of keep it focused on, what you need to do or what I need to do to succeed. It has to start with me. I can't blame Angie, or I can't blame Jayla, or Sal, or Terry, or Donna. I can't blame anybody other than myself. It's because I need to invest time in what I'm doing, or I need to make changes, and those changes have to do with, like I said, have to do with your, what you're learning, and then utilizing what you learn. It doesn't do any bit of good if you're so green, all you want to do is absorb that information, but you don't share it with others. But this is a good opportunity, since I don't get a chance to talk to a lot of people here. But this is a good opportunity if you want to unmute yourself. I'd like to have a chat. I'm going to stop the recording, and then